We're all owned by the Syndicate, body and soul. Or should I just say body?
Hello, filthy movie lovers, something weirdos, and anti-criterion bros, to the 37th episode of the Sin Syndicate, where the nights are special in the turned-on world, and every weekend pot party includes a remote-control racing track. My name is Gentry Austin, writer and researcher, and I'm here with my co-host, adult film historian Casey Scott. And in this week's episode, we are celebrating the Stoner's Holiday with a look at a film we have mentioned several times before, but we have never covered in depth. The 1968 Manhattan shot sexploiter from director Joseph Mangine, Smoke and Flesh.
Life stands still during the day when we earn our bread in this square world. But the nights are special in the turned-on world of smoke and flesh.
But before we light up, a few news and updates. Casey, you're going to correct yourself.
I am. Well, first of all, I always feel like I have to say, first of all, I have to preface things all the time. So
That's fine.
Something that I've told a few people that maybe don't know is that when I record our episodes, I am very highly caffeinated. Like I've had a pot of coffee, and then I typically will have like a diet soda with more caffeine. So when I'm talking, sometimes I'll stumble over words. Sometimes I'll think of things that are incorrect. And one of the things I thought was incorrect was Eddie Infante being in Sweet Sugar when he is not in Sweet Sugar. That film wasn't even shot in the Philippines. It was shot in Costa Rica. So that was a weird error to make. I don't even think he's in any women in prison films. I'm confusing him with somebody else that was in like Women in Cages maybe, or one of the New World films. But no, he is not in that. And I definitely wanted to mention that because Eddie Infante, looking at his resume, didn't really make exploitation movies. He was a little classier than that. He was not Vic Diaz, let's put it that way. Vic Diaz did a lot more work in trashy stuff. So
yeah, and to be clear, you're correcting yourself from our last episode where we talked about the two Reviver releases that he was in. Yep.
Correct. Yes. And also per Reviver. So that went over well. I was going in depth over the Reviver stuff. I actually had a good conversation with Oscar where you know that I like to send voice memos. So I sent Oscar like a, I don't know, 3-minute voicemail. He sent me back a 5-minute voice memo. So wow. I was like, okay.
Breaking the record.
Breaking my record. Yeah, it was great. So yeah, I need to get up there and visit. He wants me to come up and visit, which obviously I need to see him and Dino. But he did mention something. We have our text chain. He did mention that we could mention. So the Chris Pajali Reviver will not be number 3. It will be number 4. And I could have sworn that Chris said it was number 3, but it might have been bumped, might have been rearranged. Yeah, I don't know. So there might have been some rights issues that delayed it or something. But
yeah,
whatever it is, whatever number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm on board. So I don't want to know what they are. Just give them to me, please.
Yeah, Oscar was on Celeste's show, and I had mentioned that he had mentioned that there were some rights issues with I believe the Chris Reviver. So I think that it did get bumped just to kind of figure that stuff out. Right. But and actually, and this is when, I mean, I still love I love not knowing what they are. And I think actually that's something I need to ask him. Maybe they discussed it I think we talked about, we were wondering about the frequency of when these would come out.
And I think it's once a quarter, I believe. That would make sense. So it's one every 4 months. And I think that sounds like that's probably the plan. If it's more frequent, I would eat it up. Just if it was once a month, I'd be happy. I mean, it doesn't,
Let's not do that to Oscar.
No, Oscar has enough to worry about.
Once
Oscar
every 4 months
so
already is pretty frequent.
It is a lot, especially considering when you watch his videos of what he had to do. Yeah, when you have to do all of that work with stuff that is not necessarily ideal elements, good grief. So yeah, when it's the labor of love, heavy on the labor.
Yes.
Heavy on both the labor and the love. There is actual labor involved. Yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, Oscar's great. And his last name is pronounced Besher, as in bechamel, and it's like Becker with a soft SH. So Besher, which is good to know. And actually, it's funny. I checked a previous episode he did with Celeste, and they discussed that his last name is pronounced one way by other people, but he pronounces it a different way. So the way he pronounces it is Besher. So
yeah,
but I think we'll just stick to first names. Yeah. Pajali's different, and I feel bad because I've known Chris for years, and I've been mispronouncing his name, but I also don't call him by his last name.
Right.
So, and he is doing a signing with Grady and Mike Gingold, I believe, in a couple weeks, and I will go to that because I love both of them.
It's a screening as well, isn't it? Or is that a different?
No, I think it's a Forbidden Planet. So it's going to be the three of them together. They have three different books to be promoting. I see Mike enough. He hosts a horror He hosts a horror trivia at Rock Bar once a month with Ted Geoghegan, who directed We Are Still Here. So yeah, I see Mike enough. I'm more excited to see Grady and Chris because I don't see them hardly at all. So
yeah, I'm excited for the new version of These Fists Break Bricks. I've been putting off buying that ever since I heard that they were doing a new version. So it's finally coming out, and so I can finally pick that up.
Well, my first edition, they signed it at Forbidden Planet, so I can't get rid of my first edition.
Wait, so now you have to get another signed version at Forbidden Planet. Now you got to do it all over again.
That's correct, and I'll hold on to both. Yeah, I mean they inscribed it with personal stuff for me, so yeah, I can't get rid of it. But yeah, I'm excited to see those guys, and yeah, that's good. That's going to be fun.
Or would you bring your first edition copy and have them sign it again? I don't know. Which one?
I would not.
Do? No, you want to.
I would actually. Grady's really funny. Grady's signatures tend to have a little sense of humor with them. So I don't know. He could be like, "To Casey, here we go again." Yeah, Grady Hendrix or something. We'll see what he does. I feel like they both had like standard things that they entered, but they personalized theirs for me a little bit. So
yeah,
that was fun.
But I was talking about this other thing that you have listed here. Do you want to talk about?
Yes, I think so. I think just to I think to give an idea of kind of the challenges that we run into in research.
Well, there's someone that you want to contact, and
yes, there's someone that I want to contact.
There's roadblocks, yeah.
Yes, and the roadblocks are not necessarily the person that you're trying to interview. The roadblock is other researchers that are a little too territorial over these things. And so this morning I had a conversation with you and Alex. I had a conversation with Sean Langrick, trying to figure out where we go with contacting a certain person, because we have to work around this territorial who makes things very difficult for anyone else to document this history or learn other people's stories and experiences, because it's all about the control. Yeah, I thought we wouldn't have to deal with it. I was head in the clouds, like, oh, this is great. This is so exciting. We got this research going. I was, oh, here we go. So we will see what we can do. It's, the good thing about it is, I'm in a better position now than I would have been, even 3 years ago. I would have totally spiraled and probably been in bed all day and had a full mental breakdown. So now I know that there is a larger community that is involved with trying to get this story. There's a lot more support in making sure that these stories are told. Yeah. And so, yeah, I feel in a better mental health space to approach this from a different way. And that's what we're going to do.
A little bit more context too is this is related to Secret Places, Secret Things. So as you have listened to us week after week, as I said on Instagram, we will never stop talking about Secret Places, Secret Things.
No, and it needs a reviver. Oscar, we're going to emphasize it needs a reviver. Let's get a print. Let's get going. Let's get the reviver going.
And we want the full story. And this would give us even, this would push us even more if we got confirmation that, let's do something. Let's do a reviver. Then we would absolutely go full bore on contacting some of these people. And let's be clear, gatekeeping movies, that's bad enough. Gatekeeping human beings, that's just weird. Okay, don't be weird, people. Like this, let's work together on these things and get these stories out.
Yeah,
I mean, Casey, you're close with Roberta.
I've never told her to never speak to someone.
Exactly.
I've always said if you want to talk to Roberta, you can contact her in the same ways that I do. It's not that hard to get a hold of her. I think people are just scared of her. But yeah, I mean, Misty Reagan, Lee Carroll, there have been people that I've interviewed that no one else has interviewed since I've interviewed them. And I'm like, go nuts, please. Because my version, my interview, my questions aren't going to be someone else's questions. I could have overlooked something. I want multiple perspectives of someone's story. I'm not the perfect interviewer. No one is. There is no perfect interviewer. I will overlook something potentially. That's why I think the more people that are involved in this, the better. And I've always felt that way. And I don't experience this from anybody else. Like Michael Bowen's a great example. We had him on the show. Michael Bowen does not gatekeep anything. Michael Bowen, if he knows that you're legit and serious about it and you're not trying to like shame people or bother people or harass people, he will help you. And other researchers are the same way. This is a singular, unique situation that I am not alone in experiencing. So I'm glad that we're all kind of on the same page and we're just trying to figure out the best way to capture the story.
Yeah. And this community,
not just for the film, but to honor the person that we're trying to interview, because this is a story that hasn't been told by anybody else, including the person blocking the interview. So it wasn't covered. So I'm just kind of, it's different. It'd be different if it was a person who doesn't want to talk, but the fact that they have makes it more frustrating because it's just like, well, okay, So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I think it's helpful to be as transparent as possible with some of the issues with this. It's not, and we've said this on previous episodes, this is not, this research is not necessarily for the weak of heart. And I say that as someone who is relatively weak of heart, who will have breakdowns and cry because I hit a dead end, or like it's not for the weak of heart, but it's worth it because if you can learn more and document more, then it's a little piece of that puzzle. So the work is worth it if you can get those little bits that you can find. So yeah, I mean, the drive is there. I just need to.
Let's complete this puzzle together, everybody. Let's all put our pieces down. Yeah.
Which reminds me, you have someone you need to call too.
I know.
Also related to this film.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, Oscar, give us like the thumbs up. Like, okay, we're gonna do it, and then that'll like be a kick in my pants to call this other person.
Yeah, see, but Alex agrees. I think. Like, for example, we all waited too long to contact Sheba Britt because we were like waiting for the right project to do it. And sometimes the right project is just that you want to document it for posterity. And then if whatever comes along the way that it can be useful for, that's great. So I need to get more into that mindset because I have that Google Doc I have to share with you guys of people that we should be contacting as a group. Just, trying to do this reconnaissance, but
all right.
We both got people to call.
Yeah. Well, in lighter news, we have...
It's all lighter from here, folks. We just had to, this was literally my entire morning was trying to
Well, not your
bounce this
entire
off of
morning,
people.
but yes.
It was the first 4 hours of my day. Yeah. So it was just a lot of trying to figure out what the next steps are and trying to get thoughts on it. So yeah. All onwards and upwards from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to include a special segment with our special correspondent, Jeffrey Patrone. He has graciously agreed to be our eyes and ears over in Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, who are putting on a Grindhouse triple feature. This is volume 2 at their Gap Theater. That's happening on Saturday, April 11th. We were not able to make it out there, so thankfully Jeffrey was. And if you haven't been keeping up with our constant rattling on about this, they are apparently screening one of our Lost and In Limbo films, one of mine on my top 10 list. So obviously, we are very curious what it is. So we will include that clip right here from Jeffrey, who is going to give us a rundown and recap of this whole screening. So here it is, Jeffrey with the report.
Okay, this is my quick recap of what was shown at the Gap Grindhouse Volume 2. What I love about these showings, not just is the fact that they play a lost movie, not just the fact that they play a mystery lineup of films that they keep secret until they show them, but what I love most of all is the eclectic mix of trailers shown beforehand. So let's dive right in with what the first reel of trailers was before the first movie for the Gap Grindhouse Volume 2. To start out the night, there was a trailer for a film called At Last, which I believe was an English dub of an Italian film from 1975 as Valentina, the Virgin Wife, and also You've Got to Have Heart. Not sure where exactly the At Last title comes in, but following that, there was a trailer for Emmanuel, The Joys of a Woman, also from 1975, I believe. And following that, there was a trailer for Fritz the Cat, the Ralph Bakshi animated classic from 1972. Following that, there was movie number 1, a Ron Garcia directed film called Inside Amy, starring James R. Sweeney and Jane Mitchell, as well as featuring a fairly, not necessarily prominent, but a supporting role from actor, stuntman, and occasional director Gary Kent. Also featured in that film was a marquee of some sort, some kind of location showing the film, the Byron Mabe lost film, Love Thy Neighbor and His Wife. And that was just, I loved seeing that, especially in that film. Not that there was any footage of the film, but just even seeing the title offhandedly was incredible on a marquee. Following that, there was another lineup of trailers, and those trailers were for the films Nashville Girl, I believe from 1967. Following that, Fanny Hill from 1964, and that, or I think Nashville, I might have switched up. Nashville Girl, I think, is 76. Fanny Hill, 1964, and Putney Swope, 1969. And that was a very fascinating mix, if not just to see the Russ Meyer trailer for the original Fanny Hill. That was a real joy for me. Following that, there was the Joseph Frito directed Shanty Tramp, which was shot in Florida and there's a added element where this definitely feels more like a quote unquote cheapy than the first one. There was definitely a real scrappiness to the production, but in that scrappiness, there's also a madness and inventiveness that made that film incredibly watchable. Shanty Tramp, I'm talking about. And fascinating tagline for the film. She loved Rebels on Wheels. Although I'll have to say, it doesn't hold as much candle to the tagline for Inside Amy. She played the swingers game and lost. But back to Shanty Tramp. This was, I believe, the only lead performance for actress Eleanor Dale. Also in the film are Ray Arana and Bill Rogers. Bill Rogers gives a particularly memorable performance as a sort of southern traveling preacher, but also with a definite Elmer Gantry kind of that. He feels like a real con artist, and more than a con artist, he feels like a horned up con artist, and he doesn't really do anything except be there and leave. But sometimes the greatest characters in film can just be there and leave. Following that, there was an even better lineup of trailers. I know, it just gets better and better and better. How could it? Well, you show the trailer for the Lost Sandy Johnson adaptation of Justine, also known as Justine, the erotic excitement of evil, from 1967. And following that, there was a trailer for In Hot Blood of 1968. And following that, there was a trailer for a film called Hot Thrills and Warm Chills from 1967. And those trailers together had a great, just a great energy of just unbridled. This is the grit. This is the griminess. This is the kind of stuff that you'd be seeing. Fritz the Cat is nice, Putney Swope is nice, but these films they're dirty pictures, son. Following that, there's movie 3, the lost film of the night. The third film of the night was a 1967 film called Playpen Girls. Yes, that's right. Playpen Girls. We've all been leading up to this moment where I try and talk about Playpen Girls. So much so that I'm not really talking about any of the other movies because I'm still trying to talk about Playpen Girls. Sometimes a movie works into your mind and it just stays there. And that's Playpen Girls. Sometimes you just get a fantastic trailer and a movie that doesn't make any sense. And that's Playpen Girls. Sometimes you get the greatest thing in the world, and that's Playpen Girls. What is Playpen Girls? I hear you screaming. I feel it in my bones. I want to tell you. I don't know. I I truly am struggling to come up with an answer for what this movie is, except the greatest thing in the world. And it is. It's the greatest thing in the world, and you need to see it. So, you are
Michael, the projectionist at the Gap Theater.
Gap Grindhouse. And what drew me to these screenings is not just the mystery element, but the big thing is the lost film element. And with the first screening, you played Hot Hands of Love.
Yes.
And that had some, I wasn't there for that screening, but that had some audio issues. Not audio issues, but that was a kind of finished film in a sense. Seemed to be or was it just bad audio? What was the case? How would you describe it?
It was a Spanish film production that was then post-dubbed into English, kind of in the vein of a lot of the Spanish-produced films in the New York area. They would be shooting in Spanish, all the actors were speaking Spanish, and then they would be post-dubbed into English for wider market appeal, especially in the sexploitation market. And that was the case with that one.
Would you say a similar circumstance would or a similar film, have you ever heard of a film called The Deadly Organ?
Similar situation where it was a Spanish import and then post-dubbed into English. But
I thought that was I watched that recently and I thought that was fantastic. But I'm sad that I wasn't able to
to be. And that's sort of another, if you're not here, is there ever going to be another chance where the Gap might theoretically show, not a lost film, but like Girls on 42nd Street, or the Andy Milligan film, or the High Yellow, where it'd be, things like that.
They can always come back if if
people want them,
they can always be brought back later. Okay. But don't like to play things too short of.
You gotta be here is sort of the attitude, and I love that because
they can always come back, but it's better to be here when it's played.
It's a great theater.
You never know when it's gonna come back, or if it even can come back sometimes.
And where is this beautiful theater located? Just to reiterate,
it's Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. About an hour and a half from New York City, about an hour and a half from Philly.
And Gentry, this is going to be for the Sin Syndicate podcast. Gentry and Casey, they not slandered, but they've called this place out in the boondocks, and I don't think that's fair.
I'd call it that. We're definitely kind of more out in the boonies compared to like a lot of the big city theaters that are doing this kind of programming. More off the beaten path, but it's worth the trip out.
I fully agree on that front. Where are these films coming from? Are these exhumed film prints from Harry Yarrow? That's
some of them come from Harry's collection, and the Lost Film Tonight and the one at the last show. Those are both from my collection.
Okay, and I just really want. I was assuming it wasn't all from that, and I'd really love to hear more about you and like how do you find these films? What's the go off in any direction that you'd feel?
I'm a big fan of grindhouse, sexploitation, adult feature films. Occasionally they come up onto the market or get offered to me for sale, and I grab them when I can, because especially with operating this place, the chance to get to screen them for an audience is what they're meant to be for.
As a bit of a stoner, I've always loved a particular kind of exploitation. Like I love the marijuana film, like the don't do drugs, these are bad. I always thought those were. Do you think there's ever going to be one of those, or would that fit into the like? I don't even know what the like almost pseudo educational,
even scare films, the drugs,
or even Mondo.
I'll play whatever people are willing to come out for it. Whatever. If people are willing, if I can get the prints to make a theme and people will come out.
How much money do I have to pay for Smoke of Evil?
That's a question for Harry, and if we can find a print.
Okay. That's another thing with these. You can't find prints. Like Andy Milligan, there's like no prints. Like that screening changed my life in ways that are probably going to be negative, but this is a big question, and it's sort of one that I'm surprised I didn't start with. But with these screenings, what's your goal? Like, just as someone who, as a film collector, as a film enjoyer,
show someone a film they haven't seen before. Get them to come out and see something that they wouldn't normally see or even have the opportunity to see.
What about tonight is so special to you?
Big thing is, if you really care about film preservation and the theatrical experience, especially in this day and age where everything's going digital, it's great getting to watch these movies at home, streaming it, or on DVD, but they were meant to be seen in the theater. Seeing a lost exploitation film with a crowd of people to all get to collectively experience that at once instead of by yourself on the couch. Theatrical exhibition is very important, and it helps to foster more film preservation by allowing us to continue doing these kind of shows, keep finding more movies and getting them screened, stuff that might not be viable for a home video release, but we can find a print and show it and give you an opportunity to see it with the crowd and get the crowd reactions in real time.
Not to take up too much more of your time, but this is the second Gap Grindhouse.
Yes.
You've already announced the third one.
I want to do more.
I really hope in the future, maybe the Sin Syndicate, maybe they could sponsor a screening. Maybe they could even come out for a screening.
I'd love
one of those hosts. Yeah. Both of them. I know they're a big fan. And
I'm good friends with Casey. I've known him for years.
Very knowledgeable.
Super knowledgeable. We had dinner one time at the bar in Fleshpot on 42nd Street.
That sounds incredible.
We found where it was, and we had dinner there.
Andy Milligan will find a way into every...
Yeah.
Thank you so much for...
thank you.
You know what's great about going to a mystery screening or just any kind of screening? You get to spend a night, or in this case, because it's a Saturday, into a Sunday, some might even argue a weekend with a room full of strangers.
So, Smoking Flesh. This is a personal favorite of both of us, right, Casey? You've got a historical 5-star rating on Letterboxd. Is that hold up for you?
It only went down half a star.
Oh, okay.
For I believe for the way that the wrap up. I think the wrap up is lazy, but everything else before it is just really stellar stuff. Just really stellar stuff. It feels like a whole reel, basically, that he could present to someone saying, "Look, I can make a movie."
Yeah,
like and this is only one of 2 movies that he directed. The other one was literally 20 years later. So it's, he was not a director. I think he was kind of like Ron Garcia, and then he preferred the cinematography. He didn't like the directing.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that a little bit. All right. Well, good to see it. It hasn't dropped too much in your estimation.
No, I agreed with you. I think the ending it's lazy. It feels like they had to pad it so that it was. I think the ending is that montage is like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, oh, it couldn't be 63 minutes. 68 is more acceptable. So it was just kind of like this would have been great at 63. Just cap it off. Yeah.
So this is our 420 episode here. You have a note here. Do we partake? We want to put that on the record.
Do. I don't. It's not. It's legal.
It's
in New
legal
York.
in most
of the
places. Yeah.
Is it legal in Minnesota?
It's so messy. It is more or less. Yeah, but yeah, like certain shops can only carry certain things. They're still working out the legality of like percentages of THC and all that goofy stuff. But yeah, I enjoy a little vape and a little gummy every now and then. Yeah.
I do not. I am one of those people because I think it's because I'm so fucked in the head. It just makes you paranoid.
Yes,
I get paranoid. I was watching an episode of Pen 15. There was an episode where it focused on like the mom on this show, and I was watching it with my sister, and my sister is like a professional gummy weed person. She's in California, so that's what she does. And I thought, for some reason, the show, she was going to be like a secret agent or a spy. And so someone was trying to kill her. That was not the plot of the episode at all. It just, in my mind, I was like, oh God, this is going to get really dark. What's going to happen? So yeah, I'm a drinker. I drink, which is worse for me than just doing a gummy or, having a little imbibement. But, and this movie did not make me want to change my opinion on that. In terms of whether I should indulge more.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's not necessarily a super it's not a negative portrayal of weed. It's more of a negative.
No, it just didn't look like it did not look like the kind of thing that I would enjoy doing at like a party with people. I would rather drink. And
yeah, I don't like smoking around other people. That's for sure. It does freak me out a little bit.
If I could get around a table and eat a shit ton of butter brickle ice cream, I absolutely would. Yes. Which now, and that was a funny thing. I was like, butter brickle, that sounds so familiar. It's not sold as butter brickle that much anymore. It's more like if you have like a Heath bar ice cream, it's kind of like that. Which, who doesn't love that? So yeah.
Yeah.
I would, and I love when it cuts back to them and it looks like they ate half of the fucking container. I'm like, they are high as fuck. Yes, they absolutely had to eat half of the container of ice cream. Yeah.
That's the munchies scene that they have to add. Yeah.
Yes, which was great. Yeah.
But I guess we can read the synopsis here from Smoking Flesh. This is off the back of the VHS box that was released from Something Weird in 96. It's also in their catalog from the same year, catalog number 1. So this was a pretty early released from Something Weird video. The synopsis is Turk, a cool swinger, throws a pot and sex party to end all others at his groovy love pad. Anything goes. Local hoodlums crash this happening scene, and as the party goes into full swing, Turk slips one of the bad guys a cube of LSD, and he flips out on a way bad acid trip. Completely out of control, he's carried out of the love-in, not to be missed by the drugged-out, sex-crazed hipsters who continue their erotic explorations. Yes, I think that's a good synopsis, but I think it misses one key part, which is like the first 20 minutes, they're waiting for the drugs. That's like a key part of the film.
Right. But yeah, that's not going to excite someone to see
No.
this movie.
Yeah, watch this
There's
movie where
hanging around
a
the
bunch
party.
of people hang out and wait for the guy on the motorcycle to show up. But I actually love that part of the movie.
Yeah, I think you described it as like it's a sexploitation hangout movie, which it is. Yeah. I mean, there's no plot. It reminded me of Can't Hardly Wait, where it's just basically a party where there's no story. Mm-hmm. It's just a bunch of characters interacting, which is fine. You know, I think when you have something that looks this stylish, it's kind of like Submission. Very, very different in terms of the experience of it, but it's something that's fun to just sit with and like soak in. It's just it's really just beautifully done.
Yeah. And the rest of the release history here. So I mentioned VHS 96 from Something Weird. And then it was released as an Image double feature 2004. And then it has not been seen again. It's been a long
22
time.
22 years. Jesus.
Long time. So, you know, AGFA released that Drugorama SVHS collection. I think that was last year.
But the bummer is that those 3 were released on Image DVDs. So the SVHS had that Something Weird bug on them, don't they?
Yeah. But we don't have to go down this road again. Right.
No, it's not great. I'll just hold on to my DVDs, but I will get that Blu-ray at some point because there is something on there that I need to get rid of it, my DVD-R, and why not do that? Yeah.
Yes. So the issue with that Drugorama was put out SVHS because there was, you know, rights issues or element issues with getting those restored. But that is not the case with Smoke and Flesh. Good news. Smoke and Flesh does have original 35 millimeter elements with Stephen Morowitz. They are there. These were picked up as part of the second Movie Lab raid. So it's in Stephen's hands. I think this is definitely due for a restoration. So we'll have to shoot him a message. I don't know. What would you package this with though?
I was thinking about this. You know what I kind of like to do? There were 2 CD sets that came out a couple of years ago from this music journalist named John Savage, and he did a series. John Savage's 1966, John Savage's 1967, then 68, 69, and I think he did 65 too. And I kind of feel like it would be kind of nice to do a collection of 3 very different films from like a given year. So like 1968. We can do Smoke and Flesh from New York. We can do a California film. We can do a Florida film. We can do, you know, from anywhere else. And it gives some kind of context of what was going on in all these different places in one year and why. And then that actually gives a good idea of why the genre is so diverse and interesting. Because you could put 3 or 4 completely different films together, be like, this was all playing in one year. So you could get all these different takes on sexploitation. That's kind of the way I would do it because there really aren't a lot of, and I noted this in the notes, in terms of like mixing drugs and sexploitation, not really a thing in New York. It didn't really happen that frequently.
Plus, I feel like that angle has been played out. Like, you know, the Drugorama just came out. Like the drug, like double features,
California
triple
films.
features. Yeah, I don't know.
I like the idea of trying to do something a little more. I don't know. I kind of like that idea, and I actually started thinking about that because of the Reviver, where the theme of Reviver 2 was the Philippines, and film Reviver 1 was the Carolinas, and it's like, well, this theme would just be like 1968. Let's go back in time to 1968 and see what the hell's going on. We actually have 2 years to pitch that for a 60th anniversary kind of release.
Oh,
So maybe it's time to put a little bug in somebody's ear to maybe do that.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah,
Yeah, I think a
68.
collection of maybe a 2 disc set, 2 films each, 2 films on each disc. I
Hmm.
think it would cover a lot of interesting territory and also be able to check a lot of titles off of a list that maybe
Mm.
don't belong with other films. They wouldn't be good singles. They don't really match with
Yeah.
doubles. And that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'd love to do
Yeah,
that, but
I like that idea. If you're into sexploitation, as Lisa also agrees with us here, like 68, 69, some of the best years, some of the best stuff came out. So
Yep.
I think it wouldn't be difficult to find some good films from that year to complete this
right.
set. Yeah.
Well, even like Help Wanted Female is 68, and that's in California, and that's such a different film. But even watching that with this is just kind of like so wildly different. And Girls
Uh,
Come Too is 1968. That's a New York, that's a Florida nudist camp movie. Like
yeah.
for no reason. Suburban Roulette is like 67, 68. That's, so there are so many different paths you can take with different films. I think it's an opportunity to be creative with
Hmm.
trying to get these films out and trying to market them to different people. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That
I
would
like
work for
it.
this film, I think.
I
Yeah.
really like it. Yep. All right. So we've got, speaking of like acid, yeah.
Mhm.
What year was Acid Eaters?
Acid Eaters was 68, so it was
Was
this
that
year.
68 as well? Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
it's funny because yeah, as you mentioned in the show notes as well, these films have the same theme where
Hmm.
it's kind of like regular people
Hmm.
partaking in drugs like on the
Hmm.
weekend.
Yeah, and it opens very similarly. It's that
The
clock ticking.
clock,
It's
yep.
the montage of people working. It's a motorcycle. Got someone on a motorcycle.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
yep.
it's right there. It's interesting. I that was something I didn't get to do because I got distracted by other stuff. I wanted to see the earliest that Acid Eaters was released to see if did this hit New York
If one
before
was an
this was produced.
influence,
Was
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been, or maybe the other way around.
Hmm.
I don't know. For the record, I cannot stand Acid Eaters.
Yeah.
Uh, Gorgeous to look at, terrible. Just not funny, stupid, just
Yeah.
not good. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you in terms of, yeah, the humor's not good, but I do want to see that restored. And
I do too. Just because.
I believe AGFA is working on something. They've been kind of hinting at something. We don't have any inside information here, okay? I'm
No,
not spoiling anything, but
no.
they have posted clips from a
Uh-huh.
negative. So yeah, I think that they've got
Yeah,
something
that
cooking.
seems like that matches them more than it would District X, to be completely honest. Because I think
Hmm.
that, especially they did the Drugorama party, I think it makes sense to have that angle for sexploitation for them. So that would be a good match. And that, yeah, I mean, the cinematography of that is this bold, beautiful, gorgeous color, and I think Dave Friedman shot it, which is also crazy. I believe he shot it,
Really? Wow.
which is yeah, I believe so. I think he shot it.
Like holding the
Um,
camera or like directing a photographer?
well, cinematographer doesn't always hold the camera. That's
Right.
that's a camera operator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I believe cinematographer. I don't remember who the camera operator was, but yeah, it's Byron Mabe who
Yeah.
only made let's be real, like 2 good movies, maybe. Not a good filmmaker, and but yeah, that would be great to see restored. But yeah, it's so weird that the parallels between these two,
But I
and yeah,
like,
one is in color, one's in gorgeous black and white. Like it's a
yeah.
very interesting contrast between the two.
If I remember, Acid Eaters gets a little darker at the end with regard to like what happens when you're on drugs. This one doesn't.
Bad. Yeah, no, this one doesn't. I
Yeah.
mean, a little bit because it's kind of like, well, if someone you could have a bad trip, I think because you're a bad person. That's what it is. If you're some nasty sadistic biker that takes acid, then it's gonna like mess you up.
Yeah.
But it's not something like The Hard Road or Mantis and Lace where she loses her mind and butchers people. You
Yeah.
know, it's a very different take on drugs.
Yeah. So you mentioned New York. Yeah. They didn't really do too many drug films around this time.
Not
Gigi
really.
Goes to Pot. I have not seen that yet.
It's lost.
Oh, okay. Well then.
That and Turn On to Love, which is John Alvinson, which is interesting because John Alvinson worked with the production supervisor of this on Cry Uncle, who executive produced Cry Uncle. So
Mhm.
that weird connection. But yeah, those are the only two things I can think of that were really like marketing the films as drugs and sex together. It really was not a New York thing. There were exploitation films about the dangers of drugs, but yeah, they didn't combine the two like California did. But California is also where like, you know, it was San Francisco, it was LA, it was very different scene than New York.
Yeah, I feel like New York, you'll get more like heroin. You'll get more heroin
Yeah.
shooting up, and it's like
Or
a
like in Hot
dangerous.
Blood, where she
Yeah.
takes like whatever smack or PCP or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very that. I think of New York, I think of heroin. I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think of pot or LSD. I think of heroin.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to live, folks. I'm telling you. Yeah, you want a downer, you don't want an upper.
Hi, Sue, baby. Everybody's here. We're all waiting for the man. He had a slight detour, but he's on the right path now. Okay, I'll see you soon. Don't hang me up.
So the production here, this is the one and only Imp production, correct? Imperial Pictures.
Yes. I found another Imperial Pictures that was another independent company that made films that United Artists distributed, not the same.
No.
Yeah.
No. And this is pretty much all Manhattan, correct? I mean, you're
all
in
Manhattan.
Yep.
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 Except they must have gone somewhere because there's that sequence that's in the Lincoln Tunnel. So they obviously went into the tunnel to either they started in Jersey and went into the Lincoln Tunnel, or something. That's the only other thing I can think of. Most of the outdoor locations you see are Greenwich Village, because you can see the Grove Street.
Okay.
I think it's a Grove Street Path station, actually. So that is people coming in from Jersey to go to work. And there's a few other locations that I'm like, oh, I walk by that when I go to Christopher Street. Yeah.
So who do you think was involved with Imp production besides Joseph Mangine?
I think that's it. I don't have any other theories. I mean, the thing to note with all of these people on the crew, they all started with Barry Mahon.
Yeah.
So they were making really cheap, terrible pieces of shit for Barry. And then this was kind of like them breaking out and being like, you know what, we can do better. So they did better. This was not distributed by Barry, which I think is crazy, because that kind of is like taking the opportunities that Barry gave you to work on films for the first time and then be like, well, no, we'll handle this. We don't want you to make any money off of this, Barry. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, Joseph Mangine and the editor, Phil Fitzpatrick, both worked on Hot Skin, Cold Cash before this for Barry.
Yep. Ian Merrick worked with him.
Yep.
Doug Angel did the sound on Forbidden Flesh, which Barry Mahon produced. Harry Petrusek worked with him, I believe. The script girl and the lighting assistant worked on Run Swinger Run and Good Time with the Bad Girl. So like all of these films, they all did all of this basically like apprentice work on these little quickies with Barry, and then completely obliterated him with this film. Because Barry could never. Barry could never, this is, this is just too stylish. I mean, Barry could make something as plotless as this, but you would feel that length. That would be a long 68 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, like the camera in this is never really stationary for too long. I was just rewatching some parts of Hot Skin, Cold Cash, and it's a Barry. I mean, I like that film to a certain extent, but it's a Barry film.
I do too.
Camera's pretty static, basic shots, but this, there's some stylish stuff in here. Not to mention, all that street footage. It would have taken some time to set up those street shots, don't you think?
Yes. Well, a lot of the shots, that whole sequence that's under the bed is crazy. That's crazy. The sequence with like the swinging light in the attic. The overhead, like the camera, he's so playful with the camera because he wants to see what he can do. He's like, that's what makes it so interesting. It's obvious that he is having like a creative ball with this because he wants to do something different than what Barry has been asking him to do, which is here's the setup, pan the camera if you need to. Yeah, it's like it's simple and cheap, and this does not look simple or cheap. It looks like they really took their time with it. It might have been shot in a weekend, but they wanted to make it look like it was bigger than that. And I think they succeeded.
Yeah, so that is interesting that they went out and just formed their own little imp production company, and this is the one and only. And I don't know. Yeah, we don't know what
Yeah.
happened in terms. It doesn't seem like it got much play. Did you dig around a bit?
Strangely, I found this was on IMDb of all places, and I was like, "Where did this come from?" It was released with it did get play as we found, but the big thing that I found was it was reissued with it was paired with a reissue of Heavenly Bodies by Eve Meyer, and I don't know if that means that Eve Meyer distributed this in California. I don't know if they were the California distributor. That's kind of the frustrating thing. This is one of those films. There is no footprint, so we don't know. Joseph, as we'll go into, didn't do interviews, didn't talk about these films. There's no documentation in periodicals of the time. He died very early before anyone could speak to him. Though honestly, he was around when this came out on VHS. I'm a little bummed that nobody reached out to him after seeing the VHS, but that's kind of the way it is for a lot of these films. I think people were afraid to reach out to people or didn't know how to.
Right.
But there are so many things involved with this that we're just never going to know. We don't know who Imperial Pictures is. We probably never will. We don't know about the distribution. We don't know who handled distribution. We probably never will. We don't know how well it did theatrically. Probably never will. I think the important thing to focus on with this is what it meant in terms of Mangine's career, because from here it was just like nonstop. I think it made people in the industry pay attention, because I think honestly, if you're basically in New York making sexploitation and you're working for Barry Mahon exclusively, I don't think people are going to take you seriously about your technical skill. It's just like there is no technical skill involved with a Barry Mahon film. So I think this is kind of like, listen, I can make your movie look good. I can light your women well. I can edit it really, really crisply so that it flows really well. I think it feels like much more of a calling card for him to be like, I'm here, hire me. Like, this is what I can do.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, there's not much out there on Joseph Mangine. So, I was
Very
digging
frustrating.
around and I found Steven Scarlatta. He's a film producer. He did that sharksploitation documentary. He's directed films. He did a podcast all about Neon Maniacs of all things. Yeah, which Joseph Mangine shot. So, he did I don't know how many episodes it was, 9. It's a series podcast. And I'm like, there's got to be something on Joseph Mangine in here. And I listened, and the editor on Neon Maniacs, Timothy Snell, he was the only guy who really had anything to say about him. And I'm just going to kind of paraphrase here. This is all from Steven Scarlatta's podcast. He said, Joe was a Brooklynite, a longtime New Yorker, a very like neighborhood kind of guy. He was thin framed, a vegetarian way back in the day before it was cool. He had very long hair. He kept mentioning that. Like he had very long hair, but he looked older than he was. And the running gag like on the set of Neon Maniacs was like, how old is Joe? Because nobody could figure it out. He used to drive tow trucks, which I have found evidence of. He also said he was a welder and an artist. He like made sculptures. Joe was part of the urban Brooklyn scene back in the 70s, like Red Hook area. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of the picture we got of Joseph Mangine. And again, I looked in our buddy Stephen Thrower's book, Nightmare USA, because he's got that big chapter on David Durston. And there's no mention of Joseph Mangine. So I'm just like, gosh, give me something here, guys.
No. You found some good stuff though for some other people on some later exploitation films he made. Because let me tell you, I've been looking too, because he shot a lot of stuff that I really like, and not easy. I think because he was someone who wanted his work to speak for himself. It sounds like he didn't want attention. He was not a self promoter.
Yeah.
He was a journeyman photographer. He didn't want the attention.
He did I Drink Your Blood after Blue Sextet. So obviously him and Durston got along well enough there.
Right. And I don't remember if he's mentioned on that release. because I have that release, and there's a commentary on I Drink Your Blood and a commentary on Blue Sextet. But I don't think Jack Damon says anything on the Blue Sextet commentary because I listened to it, and it's actually not a great commentary. He doesn't even mention that he did Rent a Girl. He does not talk about the rest of his career other than that film.
Yeah, the picture I get is, he was just a pro behind the scenes. Again, another quote from Timothy Snell from that Neon Maniacs podcast. He was just talking about how Joseph he loved lighting. Like that was what he really liked to do. So, maybe directing, he, obviously he only did these two he directed twice in his whole career. Lighting and camera work was his passion. And the quote was, he was a very fastidious lighter, which, I mean, look at this black and white. Like you said, that hanging chandelier, that hanging light scene in the attic of Smoke and Flesh.
Amazing.
Like, that's a great scene. Yeah.
Amazing. But then there's also, it makes me think of that scene in Squirm where that entire sequence where that whole house has no lights. It's like one little, it's like, a candle or like a flashlight or something. And that whole thing is just impeccably lit and photographed for that particular film.
Yeah. And there was also, that mention you mentioned Squirm. Yeah. Apparently Lieberman, the director, was not doing great when shooting that, or when, putting that thing together.
Maybe there's a reason why he's only directed 5 movies. He's kind of difficult.
And apparently, Joseph Mangine kind of saved his ass and kind of guided that production a bit in terms of, hey, let's not shoot this in sequential order because that's insane. Nope, there's a reason why nobody does
legitimately insane. Exactly. What are you, Andy Warhol? What are you, Paul Morrissey? Yeah, we're not doing that.
So he kind of helped get that thing back on schedule by just shooting as much footage as you can and figure it out later.
Yeah.
So just a pro. Squirm's amazing. I love Squirm.
I love Squirm too. I think it's really I'm not. Yeah, that was one I first saw. Not on MSC3K, actually. I think I saw it. Someone suggested it. I think I saw it on an old MGM VHS. I was like, oh, this is actually really good. I really like this.
Yeah. And I mean, we'd be remiss also to mention he shot a bunch of porn.
Very good porn.
Yeah, very good.
Typically a good track record in porn. I think he was selective of his projects. And also, I think a big ones that he did were connections back to his softcore days. So essentially, there were people he worked with in softcore that then did hardcore, like Jerry Denby. He did Erica 1 and Pleasure Plantation for Jerry Denby. And then he did Whatever Happened to Miss September for Denby. And that one's really well shot. He does really good photography of Tina Russell in that. She looks, some of her best footage is in that film. And then Kamal Harulu, who we worked with the Barry Mahon group. And then he shot Feelings and I think Blue Ecstasy. So the two Leslie Beauvais star vehicles for Kamal Harulu.
Yeah.
And those are really well done. Blue Ecstasy is another one. Vinegar Syndrome has that, and they're not sure they want to release it. I begged Joe to put out those last 2 Kamal Harulu movies.
Yeah, I've seen. I saw Lustful Feelings, but I haven't seen. Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Ecstasy is good. It's Leslie Beauvais in like a dual role. She plays sisters. And by that time, that was a few years after, she had definitely developed as an actress. So she's much better in that than she is in Lustful Feelings. I think she took more time. But yeah, Lustful Feelings is great. They need to release that. And When She Was Bad, those are the last 2 Harulu movies that they have the negatives to. So put them out as a Picorama. Just dump them. I don't need extras. Just put them out restored, please.
The other kind of oddballs too are a couple like costume pictures, Naughty Victorians and Captain Lust. He's if you watch these, his pseudonym is Joe Mann, so look for that. But Naughty Victorians, another like gorgeous. According to the cast, like $10,000 film. Like this was a very, very low budget film. It doesn't look it. It looks pretty sumptuous.
And I think he's someone who, with a visual eye, he really tries to make it look like a period piece. He's not. It's not. It looks of the time. Like he takes really good care with the lighting and the framing and everything. Yeah, he's just. It's very interesting his background and that's why it's frustrating we don't know more about him. I'm like, where did he learn this stuff? If he was from like a working class background and was involved with truck driving and things like that, where did he develop this visual eye? Was he into photography? Like where did he find this? Did he go to film school? Did he work on industrial films? Like that's the frustrating thing about him, is that he left such a great collection of films that he worked on, and we just don't know that much, because I also feel like the people he worked with, for whatever reason, didn't think to ask questions of him and learn more about him. So I'm glad that the guy in Neon Maniacs actually was able to share stuff about him, because nobody else has.
Same.
Yeah.
There's that weird thing on IMDb under Joseph's biography where it says he was a stunt parachute specialist turned photographer. He began his career shooting surfing and adventure documentaries, but I couldn't find any evidence of where this information is coming from.
No, and that bio is by someone named Charles Mangine. He didn't have a son, so I don't know who Charles Mangine is.
It's got to be
a brother that's no longer with us. I found his widow, and he had a daughter. He did not have a son. So yeah, but honestly, the parachuting, clearly that's the Barry connection.
Yeah,
clearly, yeah. And the Ian Merrick, too, because Ian Merrick, as we'll go over, met Barry at the World Skydiving Championships. And what do you do when you skydive? You have parachutes.
Yeah.
So he might have even been on like the U.S. team at those championships, for all we know.
Yeah. Very interesting.
You know, I hate suppositions, but this is going to be an episode of a lot of suppositions because, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the case. Unfortunately, everything that is available to researchers just does not paint the clearest picture of this guy. Yeah.
This is for Alex DeSanto here. I forgot to mention, you know, when Timothy Snell, the editor of Neon Maniacs, was talking about Joe loving to light, I forgot this quote. He was like, Joe's favorite way to light was PARs with tinfoil. He would mold the tinfoil to get the right bead, very painterly. He wasn't one to just put up a bank of lights and blast a set. So that one's for Alex. I know how much he loves the intricacies of lighting, especially black and white lighting. Yeah.
Well, actually, Chris probably would eat that up too.
Yeah.
Different kind of lighting, but you know, film lighting.
Yeah.
Next door to photography lighting.
Yeah. Is there anything else we should say about Joe before we move on?
Well, he was bi-coastal. He would go back and forth between New York and California. He shot Cinderella for Michael Pataki.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Cinderella.
Gorgeous widescreen photography in that. That is so... Compare that to Alice in Wonderland, and it's like night and day. Like, no offense to Joe Bardo, who shot Alice in Wonderland. Night and day. Cinderella looks like a major Hollywood production.
Well,
like, you know.
And, I guess we haven't even mentioned some of his biggest films, which he did in the 80s, which is he did Alligator. Everybody's seen Alligator.
Yep, for the chases.
And he did The Sword and the Sorcerer for Albert
Pyun.
Yeah. Have you seen Alone in the Dark?
I like Alone in the Dark. And actually, I was just adding to the notes. Alone in the Dark is where he met his wife.
Oh.
Because his wife was... so his wife is Adrienne Hamalian or Hamalian. I need to reach out to her, obviously. She was, shockingly, the assistant director on Alice Sweet Alice. So she was, you know, East Coast based, but then she became a very prolific script supervisor. So she was the script supervisor on Alone in the Dark. And so I believe that's where they met, because she also then was the script supervisor on Neon Maniacs. She was a script supervisor on like all sorts of crazy movies. Masters of the Universe, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, 9.5 Weeks, Critters. She also worked on Community and The Office, two of my favorite TV shows. So like she's retired now, but she was incredibly prolific script supervisor.
Okay.
And when he passed in, I believe, what was it, 2006? I think 2006. Yeah. She was several years younger than him. So she is still around. And I feel like if we're going to get a larger picture of who he was, I feel like Adrienne would be able to assist with that. So I am reaching out to her to see if she would like to do a conversation about him, though this is the 20th anniversary of his passing. So I feel like that might be difficult, but I think actually now would be maybe the best time to discuss him 20 years after he passed, because not enough people are talking about him.
No. Yeah. A little celebration. Maybe she wants to get his story out there.
Yeah. So we'll see what she has to say. But he also came back to New York and did Mother's Day for Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah.
which was wild. And then his resume is nuts. But yeah, good, interesting guy. I think he shot almost the entire series of Swamp Thing in the 90s.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah, after Neon Maniacs, he mostly did TV. It looks like, and maybe those were connections either that he made. Maybe Adrian helped make some of those connections, or
he had a good calling card, I think.
Yeah,
he had a good resume. I'm sure that helped. He reminds me of Ron Garcia.
Yeah,
and that Ron Garcia showed up, did the work. That was it. When he does interviews, like he's very humble, and he likes to downplay the work that he did. And also, he didn't really like being a director. So,
yeah,
yeah,
I see it. Definitely.
Yeah, I can see that comparison.
We mentioned Phil Fitzpatrick was a Barry Mahon guy. He edited Hot Skin, Warm Bed, Some Like It Violent, assistant director on Run Swinger Run. He was also the editor on this. Anything else to say about Phil?
Not a clue. That name is way too common.
Yeah.
No, not
but
a clue.
Again, yeah, just another Barry Mahon guy that tagged along when they were breaking out from the shadow of Big Barry. Ian Merrick, production supervisor, English guy.
This is an important one. Ian Merrick. I mean, he's also the big success story out of this film.
Yeah.
So he was a British guy, emigrated to the U.S. in the 60s. He was a photojournalist. He had trained at Fox Photos and Barron Studios in London. He met Barry Mahon at the World Skydiving Championships, where Ian was captain of the British team. And because Barry liked to do this. That's the thing about Barry. I don't think he cared about anyone's technical qualifications. He was like, "You're a friend of mine. I'll give you work." And I'm just like, "Great, Barry. Okay."
You can man the clapperboard.
So he made Merrick the vice president in charge of productions of Barry Mahon Productions. And he oversaw 8 films. I don't know what all those 8 are. I imagine there's some that he's not credited on. Because as you know, Barry Mahon films don't always have credits. He produced a fighter pilot drama called The Angry Sky for Barry that was made in 1966. It apparently was never formally released, but a premiere happened at Augie Hoffman Surf Club in Ortley Beach, New Jersey in 1966. And I don't know where that film went. But apparently, obviously something dear to Barry's heart if it's about a fighter pilot.
Right.
Because that's Barry's story. He was production supervisor on Some Like It Violent, which was Barry, which was Kamal Harulu, and also Pleasure Plantation. And who worked on both of those? Joseph Mangine. So yeah, he stuck with Joe on a bunch of these things. He produced Cry Uncle for John Avildsen. But the big thing was, I mean, he was so close to Mangine. He did this movie called The Black Panther. He went back to the UK and did it, and it was based on a true story. And Mangine shot it. That's when you know that it's somebody that you want to work with. You drag them over to the UK to shoot. I think it's the only movie that he made in the UK. I think he just came back to the US and just continued doing stuff. Relocated to California. Where he worked on Apocalypse Now for Francis Ford Coppola, and he developed the script of what would become Flashdance, and then apparently he devised the original concept for E.T., which I don't know. I'd love to know more about that. He became the head of production development at Hemdale, which was a big studio at the time. They did Platoon, and also The Last Emperor, the Bertolucci movie, and I think most of their stuff was purchased by MGM, I believe, when they went out of business. He's still around. I need to contact him because he is the only person on this production crew that I think is around. He's 84. Apparently, he was interviewed for the Italian release of the Black Panther on DVD, but I can't find a copy of that. And for whatever reason, he was not included on the BFI Flipside Blu-ray of that movie, and I don't know why that is. Yeah, I don't know why that is.
It's like a sit-down interview, not a commentary, right?
No, it's an interview.
All right. Well, Doug Angel, sound, another Barry guy.
Yes. Yeah. Same story. Nothing more on him. And he also did sound on some Kamal Harulu movies. So once again, these people hanging tight and helping each other when they move to hardcore.
Yeah. Harry Petracek, second cameraman.
Yeah. This was an interesting journey because I was kind of like, well, this guy, he worked so much for other people. This was kind of his only Barry connection. He didn't work for Barry or anybody else at least credited, that I can find. He was mostly connected to Sandy Johnson. He shot all the good Sandy Johnson stuff, including Teenage Gang Debs. And he was also assistant camera on Girl from SIN. And then that was a CIP movie. And so he worked, after CIP split up, he worked for Johnson and Denby. He shot Pleasure Plenty. He worked on Pleasure Plantation as well. So he stuck with his buddies as usual. So this guy, he was a Czech immigrant. His mother was this woman named Monika Petracek. She was a professional opera singer. She emigrated to America to sing at the Metropolitan Opera. And unfortunately, her second husband that she had, this guy named Gustav, died in 1955. So she had to retire from performing and take over his textile business in Passaic, New Jersey. So Harry, which he's credited as Harry, Harry, his actual name is Harry Hari, Hari, which is the Czech spelling.
Yep.
Now, she claimed in a newspaper interview that Harry was allegedly her son from her first marriage to a European diplomat. But then Gustav, her second husband, adopted him. But Harry's second name, his middle name is Gustav. So it makes me wonder if that's just a fanciful story that she'd like to tell, or if Gustav was actually his father. And, right. He grew up in Florida because his Monica's third husband, this guy Harold Schlinger, relocated there with Monica and Harry. I think he graduated from high school in Florida. He served in the Army in the 50s. He was Company D in the 8th Infantry Division and spent time there in Europe. And then somehow, that's the thing, there's a blank space between all of this stuff about his family connections in his life, in Jersey and Florida. And then there's the stuff in New York where he becomes a cinematographer and assistant cameraman for Johnson and Denby, and then Sam Cattah. He did one Sam Cattah movie. Then he directed a movie, which I think was called Shootout at Beaver Falls, which is lost. And then he went back to Jersey in like the early 70s. He stopped making movies. I found a newspaper article where it described him as a commercial artist, and his mother was a very successful socialite in Asbury Park, New Jersey. He lived in a cottage on her estate in Asbury Park. And I found a picture of him circa 1973.
Yeah, who is this girl he's standing?
Not a clue. It's a social gathering. Not a clue. Okay. It's some girl from Jersey. He became the VP of a company called American Hydro Lines in the 1980s, and they were supposed to develop a commuter service on hydrofoils between Asbury Park and New York City, and I think that went bust and didn't happen. So he left the company and joined a company called Sludge Disposal International in Manhattan, which the name says it all. It was disposing of sludge. I keep finding little articles about him being a noted collector of Fabergé eggs and antique porcelains that were worth a fortune. So he was known for being a very wealthy collector. Yeah. I think he died in 2023, but I cannot find a confirmation of that. I have found his daughter, who's now a freelance photographer in New Jersey, and I need to reach out to her to kind of get a story. But the thing about it is, he only did films for 5 years, 6 years. Right. And then everything else was all these other businesses and taking care of his mom's estate and all this other stuff. So I don't know if she would even know that her father was a photographer and an assistant cameraman on these sexploitation movies. A lot of them are lost anyway. There's very few of his movies that are around because Sandy Johnson. Angle.
Yeah. Speaking of Sandy, like that would be the reason. I mean, look, we want to hear your story as well, Harry, but we want to hear about Sandy as well because there's not a whole lot of personal anecdotes about Sandy.
Well, we can reach out to. I want to reach out to Sandy's kids for those.
Yeah,
yeah. Sandy's kids will tell us what we need to know. I want to hear about Jerry Denby because Jerry Denby doesn't have any kids anymore. And so that's what I want to know. Jerry Denby's a bigger mystery than Sandy Johnson, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harry Petracek and he typically worked as Harry August. And I will just say it, not the best photographer. The stuff that exists of him where he's credited as chief cinematographer, it's boilerplate, gets the job done. It's nothing too fantastic. Pleasure Plantation is not great. It's not very well photographed. He's no Joseph Mangine. I'll put it that way.
No, I agree.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah.
And then last two crew members that are credited is the script girl and the lighting assistant, and they both worked on Run Swinger Run as well.
Yeah.
Jane Sweat, the script girl, and Edouard, the lighting assistant. And so it really is just a group of people who work with Barry that just struck out on their own.
He pulled a lot of people from the Barry repertoire.
Well, I think when you're making a movie quick and it's going to be your first one, you want to work with people that you know can get the job done. So obviously he'd experienced that with them on the Barry films, because Barry, I'm sure that Barry didn't tolerate any kind of nonsense on his set. So he knew they had to be done quickly and efficiently, So that makes sense. You want to work with people that you know can get the job done.
What do you have in mind?
Just a bet.
Oh?
Whoever loses the race has to take off an article of clothing. Now, we'll keep on playing until either one of us is in his or her birthday suit. Sort of a Grand Prix strip. You groovy chicks are looking for an excuse to take your clothes off anyhow.
I get the Jaguar.
Anything your little old heart desires, huh?
Well, let's talk about some actual performers here.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip to the bottom of this list here because she's one of the first people we see is Kristen Steen. She is
technically the first person we see.
She is one of the first people we see because she's in the bed with
Frank Spencer.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're both not credited on IMDb, which is, that's just, that's why I like being good with faces. I'm good with recognizing people. Doesn't mean I'm going to update the IMDb.
Yeah, as long as you know it, right?
That's up to other people to do that. If they want to, they can. But if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not me gatekeeping shit. That's just like
I might correct this
who's
one
it for?
Because it does bother me. I want to see Kristen Steen's, filmography in a clear and concise way. But yeah, she's credited as Anne Brandt in this.
I adore her. So I absolutely recognize her every time. Yeah.
You call her a lithe blonde actress. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This might be her first movie, actually. Might be her first movie. Which, if it was shot in 1967, she was 17 years old when she made this. Hoping that's not the case.
I mean, it could be.
Could be. She was born in 1950. So she would have been 17 in 1967. I like the idea that she maybe was 18 when she did these nude scenes.
Yeah, we'll just we'll just say she was 18.
Yeah, because the earliest screening we could find of this was May 1968. So I would hope that it didn't take 5 months to edit this. Yeah. So,
but yeah, another Kamal connection there because she was in
Harulu.
Forbidden Flesh. She was in that, and again Barry. Yeah, she was in some of his Red Baron movie. Apparently,
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, apparently,
I don't know where that's from. Maybe someone recognized her in the press book. I wouldn't take that as gospel.
All right,
she's definitely in The Procurer. She's definitely in Erotic Fanning Hill. She's definitely in The Mind Blowers. Is she in Fly Now Pay Later? Isn't she on the poster?
Or if she was another one of those cases where she wasn't credited, but she was in it. I can't remember. But Sherry Winters for sure was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. What else can we say about Christine Steen? I don't think we've covered. We covered her a little bit when we talked about Submission. She's in.
We did. I went into great detail in that.
So maybe we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on Christine Steen.
No, she's still around. I need to reach out to her.
She has a few speaking lines in this. She's kind of, other than Sherry Winters,
kind of the female lead,
the main girl. Yeah,
yeah, she is the female lead. The catalyst in the last act is around her.
Yeah, the whole crux of the movie is based around her being
correct.
It
opens and closes on her technically. Yeah. So
she's the girl that these pool hall bikers are apparently looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to listen really closely to get some of the dialogue. I'm trying to remember what they want to do with her. They're going to the house to find her. Do they want to, rough her up?
They don't all want to. They're going because their buddy wants to. The rest of them are just there.
Right. Yeah. The one guy who she apparently, ghosted.
One guy who gave her a ride, right, and she didn't think it was anything. Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
He wants to go, I don't know, give her a piece of his mind or something, anyways. And she's at the party. Yep.
Well, he does more than that. He wants to rape her. He wants to go to rape her, essentially.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
60s.
To be clear, he doesn't, because there's a key line
That's
of
a
dialogue.
long time that they're up there. That's a long time that they're up there. So I believe that he did rape her, but he did not kill her, which I think was what he was afraid of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there's a line in a dialogue like I'm gonna let you go this time or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time for them to be up there for something not to have happened.
Yeah, you're probably
I'm just
right.
saying. I'm just saying.
So this is a roughie. Technically, I guess we can call this a roughie, huh?
No. No. That one just of one sequence? No.
Yeah.
I think it has to be thematically a roughie. It is not.
But you don't, this is all in the shadows, to be clear.
It is. Yes.
And actually this movie is actually pretty light on nudity. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's not it's not that graphic.
It's not too gratuitous. The sex scenes are not much, if anything.
It's mostly just topless scenes.
Yeah, mostly just goofing around topless stuff. So we mentioned Sherry Winters. Do we want to say real name of Sherry Winters?
You're dead, so you can. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I mean she's no longer with us. The death holds no secrets. So I can go ahead and tell you what her real name is.
Yeah, so born April 8th, 1935 in Pennsylvania, Christy Wilson. We found plenty of evidence, that she was a nightclub singer.
I think Bowen and Alex both confirmed that what's her face? McNair was a singer. And then we found there's pictures showing that she had like a record contract and shit. I'm shocked that nobody gave her an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Both of them, honestly. We have Judy Young singing in Flesh and Lace, so why don't we have singing for these two? It's very unusual. Very unusual.
Yeah, apparently Sherry had a Paramount recording contract. But
which I think is very interesting.
We don't know if anything was ever, I mean, there were plenty of bands, artists that had contracts that never actually released anything. So
it doesn't necessarily mean anything. They could have toured. And I think it might have been a situation where they signed the contract based on her success, and then she was supposed to continue touring and developing that reputation, and she just didn't. She was actually, if you look at, she was born in 1935. She started performing in Jersey and on the East Coast in like 1959. She was 29 years old when she started. Not exactly young. And so by 65, she was like mid-30s when she starts doing these films. Like the music industry is a cruel beast, and they would want someone younger, not someone in their mid-30s trying to be a songstress or like a bombshell. I think it kind of reminds me of like a Jennifer Wells. Like there's only so long you can keep doing the touring act until you hit your 30s, and it's like, what are you doing? Unless you're Tempest Storm, where you have moneymakers, you have the ticket sellers. Not everyone had that opportunity.
Yeah, it's also interesting, that she started doing sexploitation like right around the time of this supposed Paramount contract. So either they didn't know she was doing it, or that didn't work out, and she started doing quote unquote sex films.
Yeah, I don't know. She passed away, so we'll never know.
Yeah, but her part in this is, I mean, again, like it's topless stuff, but it's not, it's nothing too risque.
No,
all the quote unquote risque stuff she does is out of the frame. It's this great Joseph Mangine shot where it's all under the bed, like you said, and it's all insinuated by feet.
Right. But it's not as like, there are other filmmakers who would make that look really lame, and the way that he shoots it and edits it is very effective. Especially by that time in 68, you had to be a little more, you couldn't be phoning it in terms of the sex appeal. So I could see this still like turning people on in this film.
What else do we have to say?
That guy that she is with, call me crazy. I'm into that guy. I don't know. He's like, call me crazy.
Oh, okay. Not
the guy who initially thinks the husband is hitting on him. And gets up. He is like, you know what he's like? He is like, I feel like Joe cast several people who were just like truck driver friends.
Yeah.
That guy's clearly a Brooklyn truck driver who's just like wandered. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll do this. He's not an actor. Didn't really, get a little side rear nudity in the edge of the frame.
Yeah.
But it's not much else. But I'm into that guy.
You know what's funny is like I was watching it and I was like, This is totally a Casey type.
Very much my type. Exactly. Alex Mann's a little too in shape for me. I need someone who's a little roly poly. Yeah. I need a layer of fat. I
Yeah.
need someone who can stay warm in the winter.
Those New
Yeah, I
York
love Alex
winters.
Mann, but he was always a little too built for me.
Yeah, what's the funny line he says, when he thinks he's getting hit on, he's like,
Oh, he's like something I may be open-minded, but I'm not that open-minded.
yeah, he's like, I'm old-fashioned enough to like women. That's what he says. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, which is a good line.
Yeah, it's a really good line.
He's there to smoke pot, but he is old-fashioned enough to only like women. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that the guy's like, no, you don't understand. We're doing this research. I need you to have sex with my wife.
Yeah.
I think, as you put it, he's in the cuck chair taking photos.
Yeah, totally.
With bright flash bulbs. And there's some really good editing with the cut from the flash bulb to some other scenes. Like, it's very inventively done. Yeah, it's not standard at all.
But if you look at that, that under the bed shot with the three of them in that room, the chair's not very far from where they are. So it's like,
no.
He's like,
but you know what? It's a New York City apartment room. You're not going to get that much space in between the two. I was impressed that this place had an attic.
Yeah.
It's like, where is this apartment? There are places like that in the East Village for sure, but I don't.
It's like a ground floor house. The exterior shot almost looks like,
isn't it a walk up? Aren't there stairs to go up?
Well, you have to watch again. No, I don't think.
I think there's stairs to go up, and then it is an apartment. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, if it's a townhouse, is basically an apartment. There's a lot of rooms too. Mm-hmm. Like there's like 4 or 5 rooms. So I'm like, God, how's this guy affording this?
Well, maybe he's got a number of people living there and chipping in on rent.
Well, actually, that's kind of what you do. If you have parties like this, you should be charging people to get in a little bit, and then that covers basic costs. Yeah, like $5.
Yeah, you mentioned Alex Mann.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
personal friend. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss that guy. He was wild. Very brusque. Very brusque.
I can kind of get that feeling from what I've seen of his stuff. Yes. Yeah.
He got very involved with like the boxing world in LA. He moved out to LA in like the mid to late 70s. He still did bit parts in acting and things, but he also got very involved. He became a bouncer at a nightclub and hung out at like, a boxing ring, a gym with different boxers and things. So he was involved with that world. He was definitely like a classic Brooklyn tough guy.
Yeah. What's the tattoo? What is that tattoo on his arm?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I don't know.
Maybe Alex DeSanto has looked more closely at that.
I'm sure Alex knows every inch of that man's body. Probably he would know. That's a weird thing. Alex Mann, I can only be so attracted to because I know the guy. I knew him and I became relatively close with him when we spoke a lot. And so, I can't, I'm like that with any man I interview. Like, I can't be that attracted to like Eric Edwards or like any of the people that I interview. It's just like, well, or Jeffrey Eagle. When I interviewed Jeffrey Eagle, rest in peace. Same thing. I was like, well, I really can't find you attractive in these now. I met your wife. Like, it's different. But Alex Mann, actually, something else that destroys the illusion about Alex Mann is he did a few hardcore films and major wood problems. Was not into doing hardcore. It was a situation where I think he did it to like pay some bills, obviously. And once you see that, it's just kind of like, oh, well, that's not great either. So, that's not very that ruins the fantasy too.
Yeah. What was that weird Sarno movie I just watched with him in it?
Was it Fanny Hill?
The young erotic Fanny Hill, which is
Laura
like
Cannon,
close to hardcore at times.
Yes, and isn't Tally in that too?
Yeah.
Yes, which they were friends. Yeah. So they all lived in the same building. Alex Mann, Tally Cochran, Patrick Wright, Linda Boyce. And they all had competing casting agencies. But Alex and Pam's, Tally told me, listen, they had a casting agency. There was no competition. They didn't know what they were doing. The people that they represented were like strippers that wouldn't show up to work. So people wouldn't call them to get people. They would call Linda. And then when Linda departed and retired, they would call me because I represented all the good people that Linda had. Yeah. So he was also married to a woman named Pamela Mann, who, not the Pamela Mann from the Radley Metzger movie, no relation,
Right.
but Pamela Mann got jealous of Linda Boyce because Linda and Alex were close. Linda and Alex, they both had the same astrological sign. They were very close. And Pamela punched Linda Boyce in the face. They got into a physical fight. I think Linda Boyce won, if I recall correctly. Tally told me this, and Alex confirmed.
Was Alex there watching?
Don't come for Linda Boyce. Well, I'm sure, he was aware of it. But yeah, because I remember Tally told me that, and I talked to Alex right after. And when you're doing research, it helps to get you really kind of need confirmation from more than one person for a story. So I was like, so Tally told me that Pam got into a physical fight with Linda Boyce, and he said, oh, absolutely, more than once. It's like, oh my god. So yeah, Alex, very interesting guy. Very interesting guy. I miss him. Very, very, very interesting guy.
Yeah, this period in his career, he wasn't doing a lot of speaking roles. This is a good example.
No, which is interesting because he's a good actor. I think people cast him because he had a visual look to him. I think it took like Sarno to give him stuff to do. Yeah. I think Sarno finally gave him opportunities.
And where you finally get to hear his very Brooklyn voice. Yeah.
Yes, right. And then he's in Malibu High. And also I Drink Your Blood, shot by Mangine. So it's nice connections there.
Yeah, lots of connections.
Yeah, I miss him. He developed tongue cancer, and he went through major chemotherapy and couldn't talk for a while.
Oh,
so I remember I had called him at one point, and I got a call back from the woman he was dating, who I believe was either a clown or a mime. And she said, Alex told me to call you back. He's really sorry. He's been going through chemo. He can't talk, and we don't know if he's going to talk again. And so I was like, oh my God, no. And that was the last I heard. We emailed a few times after that, but he was not doing good. He did not take chemo well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other big sexploitation performer in this movie is Janet Banzett. She's kind of the aspiring actress who plays
True to life.
Strip Grand Prix.
Yes, I love that sequence. Another example of something. I feel like Mangine was like, how can I make this visually interesting? How can I show off all these different skills? Because the editing is what makes that interesting.
Yes,
otherwise,
it does.
if it was Barry Mahon, the camera would be there and you would just have two people watching stuff go in a thing. Yeah, no, he edits it like it is Grand Prix.
He does,
it is so well done. And that it's so stupid. Strip Grand Prix. It's like it's so stupid. The concept is stupid, but you buy it because of the way that it's sold in this film. And she's adorable. She's, we love Janet Banzett. She was on several people's Mount Rushmores of New York sexploitation. For a reason. I think she was in the most movies of anybody. I don't think she said no to a role.
No.
No matter what it was, she wanted to keep working. And it's interesting because I finally dug into like her footprint in the press in New York at that time. She showed up in columns starting as early as 1959.
Like society column type stuff?
No, just like little blurbs, like pop culture, New York culture things, kind of Sheba Britt, those columns that Sheba Britt, her name would be dropped in,
trying to get
that kind of thing,
trying to get noticed. Yeah.
Yes, it is that kind of thing where essentially you want people to know actress Janet Banzett from Dallas or this. I found a very interesting article where it said that she was a bit player in Waltz of the Toreadors off-Broadway in 1960, and she claimed that she would inherit $30 million from her family's Texas real estate connections when she turned 30. Well, she turned 30 in 1964, and she had to be in movies like this. So I don't think that was an accurate. I don't think she inherited $30 million. No. And I believe Sean Langrick actually has convinced me that I think that she did die. I think we've said in a few episodes that her Social Security number is still active, which I just verified today. It is still active. But he provided the most evidence, the most convincing evidence of why she's dead and why she's buried where she is in California when she had no connection to California. Sean, because Sean is good like that. Sean digs deep and finds his shit. Yep.
Does he Does he think it was a suicide?
There's no other evidence it would have been anything otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Just curious.
Yeah, no, there's no other evidence it's anything otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think there's a death certificate. That's the thing. And you know what I'm going to have to do? It's not homicide. I don't think it would be documented in the Hall of Records at New York, at New York City Hall of Records. Like I went to try to find the homicide for Landwehr. That's tough to trace. It wasn't reported in the papers. So yeah, I think he's going by the headstone that popped up.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder about the suicide actually, because I think it's a convenient story, but we haven't found anybody to confirm that that's the case. I think it helps. It's a helpful narrative if you're trying to sell the idea that the women who made these movies are sad and tortured and miserable.
I know. Yeah.
And so I don't want it to be true.
And I know you've gone back and forth on this as well. Yeah. I mean,
yes, because she's so important and because I love her so much. And I don't want it to be true. I think that, one of the last newspaper article I found about her was she had just got a part in this movie called Dirty Mouth, which is on the endangered list on Temple of Schlock. It's a unofficial Lenny Bruce biopic, which I think was sued into oblivion. I have a copy because God love Bill and Walt Olson. They had a copy and sent me a copy. So I have a copy of it. I need to watch it to see if she's in it. But that newspaper article was in May 1971, May 24th, 1971, 2 months before she died, July 71.
Mm-hmm.
So one would see that and think, well, she was getting good parts, not just in sex movies. But then you don't know what's going on in someone's life.
No.
So I don't know. I think the narrative that is being peddled is convenient and kind of matches because people in their mind think that it matches. But I need more evidence, and I don't think we're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to linger on this too long, but where did the suicide conjecture ever come from? Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like maybe somebody said that it happened and it became truth. Kind of like how people said Sandy Dempsey died when she did not, or Lisa DeLeo died when she did not. All it takes is one person to say it, and then it becomes gospel.
It's been spread so far and wide at this point, and that's why I ask. I'm like, where is this coming from? Because I've seen it. I've seen it in YouTube comments. I've seen it on Facebook. I'm like, let's maybe like cool it on this until there's some kind of confirmation.
I don't love it, especially because they wouldn't plaster that on her headstone. Like suicide, like they wouldn't say it after the date. Yeah, they wouldn't do that. So without any kind of report in the paper, without a death certificate, without a family member confirming, it's just unverified rumor that tracks with people saying she was depressed. Except I don't know who anybody spoke to who remembered her from that time who's still alive, who said, oh yeah, she was really depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like even John Amaro can't confirm that in his book. He's like, well, I was told that she killed herself, which really surprised me because she seemed like she was fine. And I'm just like, maybe she was. Maybe that's not what happened. Right. Maybe that's not what happened. So the question is still remains. Sean, I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He is in touch with, I think, her last surviving relative that he could find. And he has said he knows less than I do.
Okay.
And he's related to her. And I'm just like, God. Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, the research that he did confirmed that, like, he was trying to find any family member of hers, and they all died either before her or like very soon after her.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations. I hate the speculation. I would like the confirmation. In the meanwhile, I will just love watching her smile and be happy in these films. And not tell myself that she was miserable. While that there was misery behind that smile.
Yeah.
You know.
Butterbrickle ice cream. If when I die I could take with me one personal treasure, this would be it. Butterbrickle ice cream.
That wouldn't be very practical where you're going. Don't you think it would melt rather quickly?
Flattery will get you no more than your share, dear.
Yeah, I might have to put her on my Mount Rushmore because
I thought you did.
I don't know if she was.
She was. I think she was in the most movies from that period. She didn't say no to a job.
And a lot of it's
Like
still uncredited in a lot of places.
and
Like I showed,
lost. Yes.
like I showed you Blue Sextet again. Another
He's
connection
not
here with
credited.
Durston
Yeah.
and Joe Mangine. She's
I was
in that movie.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you sent me that, I was like, oh my God. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, it's very weird. Um, I found a newspaper article from 1960 where she was at one of those artists and models ball, and she looks so different. 22 years old. She looks very, very different. She kind of looks like Georgina Spelvin at that age, young.
Yeah. I see her. I see the face there, though. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And I found another article in 63 that describes her as a former manicurist, gets her break on Naked City. And then there was another article where it said that she appeared in television. She also was a bit part in the movie Love with the Proper Stranger with Natalie Wood. She had a bit part in the Broadway show Act One with George Hamilton and Jason Robards Jr. She did all sorts of different jobs as models. Like she did some kind of modeling for Johnson Wax for surfboards. She appeared at cocktail parties in New York, and she was interviewed saying that she just got a bit part in Valley of the Dolls. So now I have to go watch that again to see if I can find her. She's supposed to be in Lilith, the Gene Seberg movie, and I think I spotted her in that. I need to go back and see if I can get a screenshot.
okay.
But she kept working. She hit the pavement. I found an article where she went to Florida for a dinner theater engagement. Like she took jobs. She wanted to work. She wanted to be successful. She was in an Albert Viola movie called Interplay, which I don't know if that ever came out. She did radio appearances, which now I need to research those because I want to hear Janet as Janet. I want to know if those radio recordings are around. Yeah, I have so many questions about her. And watching her in this movie, I think she's fine. She's better in stuff like Miniskirt Love. I love her in Miniskirt Love. And there's other stuff that she's better in. But I mean, she just there's a reason why she kept getting hired and people kept coming back to her. And it wasn't just because she would take her clothes off.
Yeah.
I get the impression that she was someone that people liked having around. She was reliable and she was fun to work with. You know, if she was a pain in the ass, they would not have called her back. Like she could have been a Laura Cannon. Laura Cannon had a bad reputation for being a little too
a princess.
Full, yes, a little too full of herself. Janet Banzett, you get the impression that she just took the jobs because she wanted to keep working and she wanted to develop into something. So that's why, in my heart of hearts, I don't want to believe that she took her own life because I don't like that narrative. If it's true, so be it. But I don't like that narrative.
We've got Natara here. Always a fun face.
My queen.
To see
God, I love her.
Yeah.
And you know how hard it is to just research that name?
The singular Natara.
It is not possible. I'm dying to know who this woman is. 3 features and a short, and that's all we have.
Yeah. She's in Electronic Lover. She's got a pretty bold scene in that.
And she's in Some Like It Violent, which is Barry Kamal. And then she's in that little short, that Barry Mahon short, as a model. Gorgeous, obviously a model, incredible posture, very regal, carries herself like a queen, which she is. I love her speaking voice. She has an accent that I cannot place. It's like British / maybe Jamaican, something. She is so alluring and fascinating. And because you don't see Black women in these films, it's especially tantalizing because I want to know what her story was. I want to know what her life was like, pounding the pavement, getting modeling gigs, being in sexploitation. Where is she now? Does she retire? Is she like around the corner from me in Queens raising, with grandkids?
I love her part in this movie. Yeah, she has she has quite a bit of speaking. And like you said, her voice is very distinct, very regal is the, refined is what you said here. Yeah.
Very refined. Yes. You feel like she went to like elocution school, modeling school with the posture. Like you get the impression that, she's super class. And that's why I'm just like, guys, you can, New York people, cast her more unless she just decides she don't want to do it anymore. It's another possibility.
She's very natural feeling. Did you get that as well in this movie?
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't seem like there are lines. It seems like it's improv. Honestly, it doesn't seem mannered or when I say refined, it does not seem like it's mannered speech at all. It seems very very natural. And
I like that she's just you know, she's just another part of the party.
Mm.
You know, they don't make nobody's making any like racial jokes about her that you'll sometimes get in these things.
Right.
She's just
no, she's not objectified. She's not othered.
no.
She's just one of this motley group of people that's in the party waiting for the hash to show up. And then she shares a tub of ice cream with this dude.
Yeah. And it's a very non-sexual, almost like foreplay before, you know what I'm saying? It's them just sharing this ice cream is just a fun little thing. Right. I mean, they eventually do more after, but with the whipped cream.
But it feels like it's something maybe like it feels with movies like this where it's very light on plot and the characterization is slight, but just enough that you can like kind of. I get the impression that like they had feelings for each other, but it took the hash and the ice cream to kind of like follow through on it. Like there's a reason they went to the kitchen with each other and kind of were just like, you know, oh yeah, I'm hungry. Let's eat some. Yeah, it's like it's not
very real to life. I feel like, you know, we've been in those situations at parties before.
Yes. At a house party, you're shooting the shit with somebody and just like, let's see where this goes. And
it starts to feel, it's feeling right. Yeah. Let's take it to the next level. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And I think it's the best she looks. Well, I don't know. Electronic Lover's really shot well, too. She doesn't photograph badly. She looks good in everything she did. I love her so much. So much.
Electronic Lover, that scene, it's like shot in it's not even like a room. It almost looks like a truck trailer. It's a very strange thing, if I remember it correctly.
Yeah. I need to revisit. Maybe that's another one for a future episode too.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's Sean, somebody else. I feel like somebody was researching that director.
Yeah.
And we found some good stuff. So I'll figure out who that was and see if we can maybe have them on and see what they found out. But I love that movie. Very unusual film.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, should have mentioned earlier, but this film, Smoking Flesh, is on cultpix.com. So
good.
It is easy to find. Yes.
I guess Distripix is fine. Steven is fine with that.
Or maybe until Steven finds out that it's on cultpix.com.
He could care less. He could give a shit. Yeah, if he's not doing anything with it, honestly, he shouldn't care. It's like, you know, don't be a Howard Winters about it. Don't have a hissy fit and not exploit the film you have. Sorry, Steven, I love you, but it is what it is. Is Francis Friday on Cultpix?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Distripix. Distripix. So yeah, I mean, we also didn't mention the actual star of this movie, who is Frank Spencer.
Yes, who is Frank Spencer?
Good question. With a name as nondescript as that, good luck. Yeah. He used pseudonyms on virtually everything. He worked a lot with Sarno. He was in he worked with Lou Campa. He was in Come On Baby Light My Fire, Miniskirt Love, Cool It Baby. He was in Gigi Goes to Pot. He was in so much other stuff. I mean, he was a very regular, and he used fake names on almost everything. Yeah. Frank Spencer might not even be his real name for all I know. This is one for Bowen potentially. I think the fact that he was in so many Sarnos, he might have gotten a clue of who he was. That's the only route that I would potentially go down.
I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, but I can't pick out one role that he did that really jumped off the screen to me. I don't know.
Not even because he's usually like a character actor. Yeah. I mean, he is the lead in Miniskirt Love. He's the nephew. He's also the lead in Cool It Baby. He's the asshole guy who's kind of in charge of everything.
He is.
And then he's in The Pill with Monica Davis, those inserts for the Test Tube Babies reissue for George Weiss. But yeah, he just keeps popping up and stuff, and it's always under a different name. So it's weird. Like I spotted him in the Gigi Goes to Pot trailer, and that's 1970. Like he was still doing this stuff, and he looks really haggard. He's like Foreman Shane Haggard in that trailer. I'm just like, sir, it might be time to.
How would you describe
hang your boxer shorts up and stop doing these films?
How would you describe Frank Spencer, like physically? He's just kind of a tall, lanky guy.
He's like a lanky brunette. Sometimes he's like clean cut, but sometimes in films like this, he has longer hair, kind of like a Beatles length hairdo. The thing about it is, I know Frank Spencer when I see him, just because I know I've seen him in so many of these films. But describing him is difficult.
Yeah,
especially because we know you have white guy face blindness, so it's not going to help.
White guy face blindness, blonde girl face blindness.
That's crazy to me. But like Kristen Steen, like if I put a picture of Kristen Steen next to like Danielle Ouimet, you would know the difference, right?
Yes.
Okay, well then maybe you don't have
I'm
white
exaggerating
blonde girl
for...
fan, but I'm trying to think of other blondes from that era. There weren't that many. Uta Erickson.
Oh yeah,
in New York. She has a very distinctive profile.
Yes, the nose.
The nose. Kristen Steen definitely has that. And even in the 70s, when like she has very different hair, because of the profile. Like in Through the Looking Glass, she has terrible hair. Alice in Wonderland, you can definitely tell that profile. Sometimes Sweet Susan, because she only had that long, like kind of like like a hippie-ish kind of hair. Up to like I don't know the early 70s.
I think those are the main players in this film. I mean, those pool hall guys, no clue on those.
I recognize the one guy, the one guy that is the rapist. That I recognize him from something, but I don't know what. The guy who is doing the race car drive. No, I'm sorry. The guy
who's in the Fez
looks like there's a guy who looks like Jim Neighbors, who is the guy who gives Frank Spencer the acid and then he puts it in the water. That guy looks like Jim Neighbors. I know I've seen him somewhere, but he also looks like maybe another Brooklyn truck driver that Joe called and was like, it's not a sex role. We just need you to show up and look beefy and great. There's a lot of attractive guys in this movie. It's like there's a lot of attractive guys in this movie.
When Charlotte and I were first married, we had a very happy and normal sex life. And then I developed a very serious glandular condition. An operation followed, and, then I discovered that I wasn't able to fulfill my husbandly duties. You know what I mean?
So we worked out a solution that would be agreeable to both of us. Walter lets me have relations with a partner of my choice, and I let him watch, and he enjoys it.
I was looking to see if maybe one of these guys that we don't know was Joe Mangine, but I don't think they fit the description. Yeah.
No, and he was the cinematographer. So unless he had Harry August do it because he was second camera, and someone else was assistant camera. Oh, Phil Fitzpatrick. That's a potential, but I don't feel like Joe, because we know that Joe liked to downplay everything and not center himself. I don't see him appearing in this movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't jive with what we know about him. But I wondered that too. I thought about it too, but then I was like, it doesn't really. All in all, it doesn't seem like something he would do. It seems like he would give roles to his friends because he constantly was involved with doing stuff with people he liked. But and also, it feels like he took this project quite seriously. So you can tell technically.
It's his first big, more or less solo project. Yeah. I mean, that montage at the end. We kind of said, we wish the ending was a little stronger, but it's a nice montage. It's shot well.
Sure.
All the fish tank stuff. I mean, who doesn't love a sex scene shot through a fish tank?
That I didn't mind because I hate when Metzger does it.
Yeah,
but I didn't mind it here because Metzger did it it wasn't Carmen Baby.
Everybody's done it. Franco did it. I mean,
but Metzger did it first. And it makes no sense for he only did it to basically distract from the fact that he had no nudity in the film. I forget. It might have been The Dirty Girls, potentially. I'm trying to remember. All of those movies are terrible. Don't get me started on Metzger again. I brought him up. I brought him up.
You did.
Don't get me. I know. Yeah, there's just so much style in this. And that's why I kind of this is kind of like submission again. And then I get it. People would be like, well, nothing happens in this. It's like, well, stuff does happen. It's more about style over substance, which is that's why I call it the Can't Hardly Wait of New York's exploitation, because Can't Hardly Wait has no story either. It's a bunch of characters thrown together and you're following these characters. There's no story there.
Yeah. Can't Hardly Wait has a really good soundtrack too, doesn't it? So
speaking of the soundtrack, I wish I knew what the soundtrack was. It's really good garage rock instrumentals that aren't library music, and it could be originals. We don't know. No credits, but I've tried Shazamming it. Nothing.
Okay.
So, but it's very good.
Yeah, you mentioned submission too, and again, this is like submission. When I'm watching this, I can just see how good it would look from that original camera negative restored.
No, well, see, submission would be a good in a 69 collection. Give us a 69 collection.
Yeah. Hey, we could start a whole series here. We'll start with the 68.
I feel like 68 is a good starting out point because it's 2026, and if we had 2 years to finesse this and figure out what to do, I feel like that would give us enough time to curate, as Dino hates to put it, a package of 4 1968 films restored from original like negatives, which are there with a little bit of historical context. And yeah, I'd do it for 68, 69, 70, even into 71 potentially, because softcore didn't really die until way later. But and then go backwards, go back 67, 66, 65, or do volume 1, do films of Sato and do the volumes 68 volume 1, 68 volume 2, 68 volume 3.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like it. All right.
Yeah. Especially when you have a movie that's like 68 minutes like this and you doesn't really match with anything else. It's so very distinctive. The only other thing I could think of that it could possibly go with was Blonde on a Bum Trip, but that's such a different movie.
It's already out.
It is. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like if they had shoved it on there for some reason, that's the only possible thing I can think of that it could be paired with, because it is another New York film involving LSD, but this is really mostly about the hash, not about the LSD. And the moods of both of them are wildly different.
This movie, I think, is a good sexploitation intro. If you're listening out there, you're a big sexploitation fan, you want to maybe show a friend a movie. This one is good. I mean, it's not too strong, if you know what I'm saying. It's got cool music, cool visuals, attractive people. It's short. It looks great. Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's great. I'm glad we finally got a chance to cover it for Stoner Holiday.
It's also more diverse than one would think too. And so you kind of get that approach to it. It's like it's not all pretty blondes and like ugly middle-aged guys who keep their boxers on, and
exactly.
It's definitely that's a weird thing. It's kind of a good intro, but it's also not representative of the genre because it's not the typical thing you would expect. But that's why I'm glad we revisited it, because I was wondering about my 5-star review. And I was like, am I misremembering how much I loved this? And I really wasn't. It went down very little in my review of it. No, I love it. And it goes down real easy, and it's just gorgeous to look at. It's good to just put it on in the background too, because you don't have to follow the plot. It's just nice to look at. We didn't talk about the acid trip in this.
Yeah.
Where it goes to negative and there's more really interesting editing and things. Yeah, it's an interesting acid trip.
I like it because it's not excessive. He does a little trippy stuff, like you said, with that negative flipping, but he doesn't go, he's not going like full psychedelia with it, and
it doesn't flip to color like Alice in Acid Land. Yeah. They don't have the budget.
Again, that New York influence where it's like, let the California boys do that kind of crazy stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, I love it.
But it is also, it's not that is different in the California films. It's not, it isn't judgmental by the end of the movie. Everyone smoked pot, had sex, go back to work in the morning or whatever. Yeah. It's just kind of like, it is what it is. We smoked pot and had sex, and guess what? Our lives aren't ruined.
Yeah,
none of us jumped out a window. None of us got murdered. None of us had to go get an abortion after. None of that bullshit that you would see in something earlier from California.
Yeah, the montage at the end is numerous couples just having stoned sex apparently, and going back to work the next day. Yep,
it is very pro drugs and pro sex, which we love, which is a very rare combination. It's like the opposite of Requiem for a Dream, which is terrible, which is anti-drugs and anti-sex.
Well, you know what we didn't talk about was the strange Robert Crumb looking bald-headed weirdo.
Oh, with the bald cap.
We talked a little bit. No, is it a bald cap? You think
I think it might be. You just think it's a weird shaving job?
I think that's his normal head, because you can see his veins.
I don't know. This is another situation, though, that we see this on a lot of sexploitation, where all the cast names are fake and all the crew members' names are real.
Yeah,
which is just like, great. Now we'll never know who these people are, which I guess is intentional because they have more to lose because they're on camera. So I guess that is the thinking there. It's like, well, the crew, it's not a big deal. The cast is right there in your face. They could get in trouble. So Doesn't help when you're a researcher, though. But yeah, no, this is definitely one. I remember when we did the Disconnected, that was one of the first questions was, what do you want to see restored in 2026? And I said this one because I do think it's a really good gateway movie. It's very accessible. It's not it doesn't have the tastelessness that a lot of New York sexploitation might have for some people. Even the attic assault sequence, it's much more about the style than the actual substance of that sequence.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just incredibly accessible. It goes by really quickly. Yeah, it's a really good. Yeah, I'm hoping that more people see it, especially if it's on Cult Picks. Absolutely, go watch it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Actually, it looks like it's on Night Flight as well. If people have that service,
get on it. Go watch. Y'all need to go watch this. I'm telling you. I know we say that about a lot of the stuff we cover, but this is a really good one, guys.
And
really
it has been I was thinking about that too recently, where there are people who don't want to listen to our episodes until they've seen the movie. So
true. That is true.
Look, we're not going to cover popular stuff that just because it's popular and because it's easily accessible. We're going to cover whatever we want to cover here.
Right. Like when we eventually do Steve Apostoloff, we're not going to do Orgy the Dead. We're going to do, I don't know, Dropout Wife.
Yeah. So
we're going to do something people don't want to talk about, probably. Yeah.
But I understand, that people want to see these movies, and this one's easy to find, and hopefully
2028. Yep. So we got 2 years. Let's program a 68 collection. We're supposed to have Steven on in a couple months anyway. We'll have to pitch that to him live and see what he says.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, they don't have 2028 on the books yet.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that could have changed.
Do we need to warn Steven before he comes on that we're going to be assailing him with demands?
You think I haven't told him this?
Okay.
Listen, Steven is like my older brother from another mother. We've been through so much. We are trauma bonded from so much stuff. There's nothing I wouldn't tell Steven. I trust that man with my life.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.